elaborate terms what Trump said. Everyone wants golden age for their own, Trump for America and this one for crypto, but the underlying is the same concept. It's exponential technology used in a direction that is positive, that can then, vastly improve quality of life, consciousness, intelligence across the universe. I think that's kind of an abundance as well. I think that's what we're looking at. So I definitely want to hear more about that. Let's see where these guys are, and then we can start in a minute.
Getting the coffee, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm also in my. What coffee do you drink? There's a.
Just regular black. Yeah.
Like a black or like shachor. There's a difference.
No, kind of Americanos or espressos.
Americano.
Like
I know. I'm a Turkish.
Yeah. Well, it's
Turkish
good sometimes.
aficionado.
Yeah.
Max, Mati, welcome to the show. It's good to have a full house. Mati, welcome. Good to see you guys. GM.
Guys.
How's everyone feeling this morning? Mati, what's running through your head?
Rejuvenated, man. Rejuvenated. It's the year of the snake. Shedding our old skin and moving into something new. Gary Gensler is gone, and we're ready to fly. As far as the markets are concerned, everybody wants to know about that sell-off. But fact is, if you would have slept, from Thursday to today, probably wouldn't have even noticed it. I'm happy to share the chart with you guys here. So this is Bitcoin. There it is. That's the spike, right? Can you see my screen there?
Let me put it on.
Nice bookshelf, by the way. You got the Bitcoin flashy thing. That's pretty cool.
Thanks, bro. I'm getting my stream corner in order. I need like some Bitcoin standard books here, and like maybe a bust of the Hal Finney. But we're working on it.
Not Safety, right? That guy's a pinhead. I hate that dude.
No, Safety. No, I mean, I've argued with him once or twice online. Like he's too. He wants us dead at the end of the day. So you can write as good a book of Bitcoin as you can, but no.
He's not only is he a raging anti-Semite, he just defies logic. One time asked on Twitter, can anybody explain to me why Bitcoin's inflexibility as a monetary standard could be a bad thing? And I started the argument, about how having flexibility and in monetary policy, and he just says that's a very standard textbook argument. And when I presented my next argument, he actually, instead of arguing back, he just blocked me. So that just told me that like he has zero interest in like an actual debate, and rather just living in his own echo chamber. And good luck to you, sir. Anyways, back to the markets. So far since November, we've been in this massive range between about $90,000 a coin and $110,000 a coin. So the weekend action did bring us down towards the bottom of that range. Today's recovery brings us back into the middle of the range. What is significant though is the Bitcoin dominance, which there's the spike, but you can see we are now in new fresh territory. Even considering the retracement, because what's happened, Bitcoin has recovered, but here we're going to flash through some of the altcoins pretty quickly. Here's Stacks still at a low. Dogecoin spiked down, but still quite down. It's not back up to the middle of the range there, is it? Ethereum down to the bottom of its range, not just of the year, but of the last few years. So Ethereum is hurting pretty badly still. There's Bitcoin again. Pepe jumped off the cliff and now back towards that zone where it was before. So basically, Bitcoin has regained its gains, and the AI coins are totally totaled. The AI coins and the meme coins. Meme coins are holding up somewhat. I mean, they've sold off, but the AI coins are completely in the dumps. There's Weifu over there. Forget about it. It's currently being covered by the volume. It's not a pretty picture. Solana, I thought, held up quite nicely as far as like being kind of a store of value or such, safe haven against the meme coins, the AI coins. So a lot of people who sold some of their meme coins and AI coins that are based on Solana, probably held the Solana rather than going into Bitcoin or going into cash. So I thought that actually held up pretty well. Binance Coin did no such thing, and definitely is on the lows there. So overall, I think key takeaway is that Bitcoin dominance chart. As I said, at the beginning of this bull run, this is about Bitcoin. It's more about Bitcoin than it is about anything else. The institutionalization of Bitcoin, all of those fund managers, they're starting to understand digital scarcity. And sure, they're going to dabble in lower coins. And sure, those coins that have a small market cap, even with a little bit of capital injection, can make massive monster, percentage gains. But we should never forget the theme of this, which is the world waking up to Bitcoin and nation state adoption, which is now in full swing. So back to you.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I was about to show a chart as well to get the gentleman started with the monologues, but you showed that chart for me. Bitcoin dominant at 60. This is the highest it's been almost, this cycle. And, we get a lot of, there are a lot of think pieces written in 280 characters on Twitter about how the cycle might be over. And if the cycle is over, if we have top, this is unlike anything we've ever seen, because Bitcoin dominance usually caters towards the end of a cycle, and the cycle top, SIG is sort of lines up with the Bitcoin dominance being at a low, and now Bitcoin dominance can't keep climbing up. I do want to show one more chart, and then I'll take it to our to Max and Alex and see, before we get to know who you are and what you're building, I want your take on what's happening, because this is chaotic, right? This is super schizophrenic. The market is bipolar. If you look at the fear and greed index on NewHedge, right? Yesterday, the fear and greed index was at 44, so it was in a fear range. And if you look, in the last couple of months since Trump won the election, we've had 2 days of fear, 2 days of actually red dots on this fear and greed index. And then that was on Sunday, sorry. And then yesterday we're already back at greed. So we're so over. It's over. We're so back cycle. You just like it's alternating every 24 hours. So how do people build in such a fast-paced, world? We usually use like dynamic fast, but this is something else. This is hyper accelerated. How do people trade? What's the outlook? Let's start with you, Alex. What's your kind of what's your mindset when you see something like this, like these violent, vicious swings in the market?
I mean, keep calm and continue just huddling, whatever. Like, Mati, you said it right. You just go to bed like on Thursday evening and wake up on Monday morning, and pretty much everything is the same, right? It's, what's happening outside of crypto really does have an impact on our market to a massive degree. So, Trump doing his thing, that is specifically, but we're feeling the heat, and that's fine. Right now we're waking up to news that the tariffs may not be going into force, at least for Mexico and Canada. So the markets go back up again, and we're almost where we were before. What's interesting is looking at the strength of dollar in comparison to all the other assets, and also looking at Bitcoin dominance chart, which you showed as well. People are still expecting for altcoins to go up eventually. I was kind of thinking maybe 2-3 weeks ago, right, Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, that can't go any lower, right? It has to rebound. Ethereum, it has to go up. Well, what a fool I am, obviously can go even lower. It's just, where do we go from that? And just as I said, what's happening out in the world right now is dictating what we're experiencing in our market, which is fair enough. Trump has been kind of the biggest news for the past 6 months, let's say, when it became apparent that he was going to go and take the seat, and all the policies that he promised to enact, some of them he's actually enacting, which is, surprising to some, encouraging to others. The worst thing that can happen, obviously, aside from, global wars and conflict, are to our market is that Trump is going to all of a sudden say, actually, I changed my mind, and I'm not going to do this for the crypto market. I'm not going to do that for for the adoption which he promised. So right now we're just in a waiting game, and all the good news that we had the previous weeks, during the when he stepped into the office and after, we kind of stayed stable within the channel, and we haven't moved up. And now all of a sudden the big news, and we come down. Well, fair enough, I guess, flushing out the market for the next rally to come potentially. We don't know, but all in all, I would say it's encouraging, and the fact that we rebounded so quickly, it's really nice to see.
Yeah, Bitcoin ate that dip. Hey, it's eaten every time it goes above 100, I go and I check how long will we below 100 for, and this time was about 36 hours. So, for someone like me, I was, I have some USDT. I was like, should I buy Bitcoin? This and this. By the time I decided I was going to buy, I had some things to do in the afternoon. And then now I need to go get my ledger, move to the exchange and make a purchase. That's it. Discount over. Or Max, GM to you. What do you make of Mr. Market, the schizophrenic?
No, you used the right word here, the schizophrenic. And this is so funny. The chart you showed, the fear and greed index, that's like pure degeneracy, man. Like this is what I don't know. It's probably a bad thing about the space that I don't really like is that the crypto really uncovered inner gamblers in a lot of the people, right? Because it's just with the instruments you have at your disposal and all these coins going up and down, you can really activate these neural pathways in your mind that resonate with when shit's going up very much and you're happy, and then shit's going up down and you're depressed or angry or frightened or whatever. People start to getting addicted to it. That's the problem, right? And this is why we see these kind of swings being more and more aggressive, because people started to have some kind of a pattern, and it's just a cycle that reinforces itself. But also the current state of the market is quite tricky, and that's why really all the traders or people who want to bet, especially with leverage on coins right now, they're purely gambling. I feel like if they don't have proper alpha, right, if they're not insiders, of course, this is pure gamble. Why? Because a lot of the market sentiment really depends on whatever Trump administration is going to do next, right? And everyone seems to be bullish and excited before Friday tariff news, and then this shit kind of got announced and everyone just panicked, and you saw what happened. So if you don't have access to such information and what's about to come next, you're literally gambling. It can go up and could go down. So the best thing you can do really is to kind of stick with your thesis. If you think that long, medium term, at least, it's you see a positive outlook on the space and on maybe on specific coins, sure, you can stick around and just keep your positions. But if you want to try and time the markets and do these trades, you're most likely gonna get wrecked. And we saw that yesterday, right? What was that, 2 billion liquidations or even more? That was crazy. So
done, liquidated. I want to, speaking of strategies, Max, I'm going to segue to the Max section of the show next, because the way I see the market right now, you can't sleep on your alts anymore. It's not a question of okay, I like what I remember in 2023, you could say, as the bull market was starting, I was in Korea and I went to an Avalanche event, and I thought it was the most well done winning event of my life. They had gaming and they had people showing you how to spin up subnets, and they had speakers and lunch and music, and it was a whole vibe. And Avalanche was really dominating at the time. Crypto gaming was a big narrative, a big buzzword. So at that time, like, I was like, okay, maybe Avalanche in the previous cycle, I'd be like, Avalanche is a winner for this cycle. But even if that's the case, the price swings feel a lot more volatile to me. So, is it, do I have a gambler's tendency? 100%. I come from a long and distinguished line of gamblers, right? It's in my blood, it's in my veins. I knew how to count, I knew how to play the roulette before I knew how to ride a bike. But does that mean that I think it's a winning strategy? Not so much. And one thing that I do think is a winning strategy today, I think, thanks to Hyperliquid and Magic Eden and a few other one of these these massive launches, is airdrop farming. I think that's back in the game. And Max, maybe it's a good opportunity to introduce yourself and One Click Finance, and how you guys are adding some tools for people to win in that strategy.
Before we do that, though, just to let everybody know who's watching, please go ahead and leave a comment. Let us know that you are indeed a human being, that you are watching. That is what helps the algos determine that this is good content and share it towards the rest of the world. Good morning, Etana.
Last week, I promise you, we had like 20 people commenting random shit and like asking questions. Like
excellent,
very but a lot from LinkedIn, and you can see it LinkedIn type questions, because it's like, which regulator is in charge of that thing in the office? And it's not like Twitter guys are just like, drop a CA. Anyway, Max, back to you.
GM is fine, or if you have a complicated question, we're happy to answer it. Some great guests today. Go ahead.
Certainly. Yeah. So to add to your statement about the altcoins, it's very true. Like you just don't do this right now. Don't hold your altcoin backs as a winning strategy, just because there are just so many of them. And even if we overnight on board all the people in the world into crypto, like there's probably still not going to be enough demand to sustain all the supply that's out there to put all the alts to all-time highs. So you gotta be really selective in that environment, or if you don't really have alpha, you just stick with the major ones like BTC, ETH. I mean, it's been down, but who knows, right? It's things can change. Solana as well. And you can essentially just either hold these bags, but like this is like super safe option, but like you can be missing out on some very basic yield or gains that you can get on these assets. For example, simple like ETH and Solana staking yields, right? You can earn like 3 to 4% annualized on ETH and like 8% on Solana, but just staking it and earning validator rewards. So like why wouldn't you do it, right? And besides that, now different DeFi protocols allow you to convert the staked ETH into like the synthetic, like the liquid asset, so you can like do other things with it on the chain. So you can basically stake your ETH, keep earning rewards. You can then take your stake ETH, put it on the lending protocol, I don't know, borrow some cash against it, like stable coins, do whatever you want with them. You want to pay your bills or buy a car, or like, I don't know, go on a holiday, while you still keep earning these yields on the background. And this has been quite a decent strategy for a lot of the, I would say, users, farmers. And the problem is,
you can have your cake and eat it too. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, essentially you could. The challenge is there are so many DeFi protocols out there, and it's really hard to understand which are the ones that you want to interact with, which ones the ones that
you get rugged though, right?
Exactly. If you sign the wrong transaction, if you click the wrong button, your money is gone. It's crypto, right? So you gotta be really mindful of where you're going, what kind of apps are you accessing. And if you just look at DeFi Llama alone, there is like more than 200 chains right now active. Probably like already more than that. And this is just listed on DeFi Llama alone, not including like testnets or unreleased ones. Then you have more than 3,500 protocols, like apps or dApps building on those chains, and like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of tokens, maybe millions of tokens. Like, how can you possibly just know what to do and like which apps are to interact with, which one you shouldn't touch, etc., etc. So this is the problem that's been there for ages, and what we do at OneClick essentially is something we started to do for ourselves at first. So we built like a database of various DeFi protocols, yield opportunities, airdrop strategies for internal use, so we can easily kind of find what's trending, what's good to farm today, where to reallocate capital, etc., etc. And later, after we tested it ourselves within the team, we just started productizing it, put a front end around it, and basically let people also benefit from this data, right? And there are different types of strategies you can use. We can dive deeper on this, but like there are some solid opportunities on both BTC, ETH, Solana, and even stable coins these days.
I'm watching, you mentioned Bitcoin. I'm watching Bitcoin restaking very carefully. Like, my Bitcoin tokens, my dogs and cats and puppets have all gone to shit. So I've had to kind of look elsewhere for Bitcoin ecosystem alpha. And I think that's in the restaking area with Babylon and Lombard Finance as well, Lombard Bitcoin as well, LBTC. So you create these kind of synthetic liquid restaking tokens on BTC that are then used to validate proof of work, proof of stake chain, and can also give you airdrop farming. I know they had a liquidity campaign with Bearer Chain. They're doing with any chain that starts up is going to be, I think, hungry for BTC liquidity to seed some of these pools. So it's going to be interesting, I think, to see from Babylon restaking plus liquid token plus launching other chains with the liquidity for DeFi. So
yeah,
that's very cool that your tool started as something that you had a sort of a pressing pain point for yourselves. Obviously everyone wants to automate this airdrop farming, and you don't want to be sitting on like connect Twitter and this and stake and checking up on 100 different protocols. Talk to us a little bit about what's your plans, like when where you guys at in a life cycle, fundraising, and most importantly, like when can I start farming my airdrops with one click instead of having to spend 5 hours a day in the deepest recesses of crypto Twitter?
yeah, that's a good one. So at least right now you can go to our app, kind of alpha, you can say, build, and just find out what are the airdrops currently trending and yields as well. You still have to do it a little bit manually, but at least you have like the checklist, the resources, all you need, which should save quite a bit of time. And what we're doing now is basically final stages of
the URL on that.
It's oneclick.fi, one as a word, and basically right now we're doing automation of all the things. So essentially you don't have to even click all this stuff manually, and just go ahead and like use something we call the vaults. It's not yet live on the website. We're currently doing the private beta of it, but essentially imagine taking your ETH with one click and then allocating it to top 15 various protocols for yield and airdrop farming, and paying as little as like a single gas transaction on a low-cost chain, but
Is it
accessing
Ethereum at the moment?
What is it?
Is it only Ethereum?
Yeah, so it will be ETH first, then we're doing the BTC focused one, and then stablecoin Solana coming next. So that's where the most focus right now is, and yeah, we're currently putting the private beta for this specific release. We launched a small kind of group, or like we call it alpha group on Telegram. There's like close to 300 people already, which we share yields and airdrop alpha every day. And that's where we actually gonna announce the the new kind of V2 for private access. So stay tuned. I can share the option to how to sign up to that later on, of course. But yeah, this is what we have on the radar.
What am I supposed to do here? I'm sorry. I'm an idiot sometimes. What there's a lot of numbers, and okay, I get that.
Yeah, you can just click on on any of these projects. Yeah, and like this one is already completed, so probably doesn't really make a lot of sense to do. But like,
so I want the ones that are active then, not completed.
Yeah. So the ones that are active,
this is a
promotional. Yeah, this is one of our partners.
I'm sorry, I did click active here, and it says confirmed or tokenless.
Yeah, these are all active ones, basically.
What about Dune Analytics? Okay, I know Dune Analytics. I've heard of them before.
Dune is an interesting one because, you know, the airdrop I'm counting on, inshallah, is Kaito, right? The Yamp airdrop. And Dune is a similar as well, because it's not based on like staking ETH. They'll probably airdrop to people who make dashboards, who run queries. You know, probably like these usage-based airdrops. I absolutely love, because it's not what you mentioned. You know, restaking. Like we had a guy from restaking, and the episode won't be found on any platform because he's threatened to sue us for asking basic questions. But restaking is very like synthetic. It's, you know, it's not real. It's got like it's whiffs of a Ponzi-nomics. Whereas something like Dune, you can kind of actually use in order to get the campaign. I mean, they have a Galaxy campaign, which is like for the masses, but I'm sure they have like a way to farm it with actually using and creating dashboards. So this is really sick. Babylon, I'm that I think in the list.
Analytics is supposed to be doing an airdrop soon. Do we know when the airdrop is coming?
No, that's the thing. Like the tokenless category means that project has not officially announced or confirmed an airdrop, but people are speculating that it might happen, right? So in all likelihood, if that happens, this is going to be a pretty rewarding opportunity, right? Just because if projects already announced it, like everybody just rush to farm it, there is like a lot of demand and it's just getting diluted. So it's up to you which strategy you want to use. You want to go for confirmed airdrop, is fine, you're going to get it, but less. Or you want to go to something that's a bit more speculative. Probably, you know, risk is higher that it's not going to happen, or happen in like at much later date, but the reward is also higher.
Understood. Okay, what are the one that say points? So Babylon chain says points.
Yeah, so some projects like introduce point systems, which are basically usually kind of leading to the airdrop itself. They might not announce the airdrop or a token yet, but the fact that they introduce a point system, which is like you do a certain action on the app, you earn like 10 points, or you provide liquidity, you earn like 100 points per day per BTC or something like that. the fact that these campaigns are already on the app, it means that likely there will be a token sometime soon.
I mean, it's just a word of caution, like on, as you mentioned, the speculative airdrops, like it's not always guaranteed. Like I remember a while back, like I got a bunch of friends into Babylon, not Babylon, Bob. It's another Bitcoin L2, and it was like harp around Bitcoin L2s and lock up your WBTC or Bitcoin, and you can farm points, and the airdrop's coming, guys. That was maybe 7 months ago, 6 months ago, and everyone's just like, with them hand out waiting for tokens still. So it's not always, sometimes a project can string you along and just put up the point system to get the generating and have you think as an airdrop, but they can really string you along for a long time. So you got to be careful, like where you allocate
Eden,
your time.
for example, I had a bunch of those stupid Eden diamonds, and they didn't airdrop me a single fucking token. I was very upset about that.
That's
been using the platform for 2 years, and like, oh, you had to download the wallet. I didn't even know they had a wallet. Yeah, I'm not bitter.
Yeah, we did some research about it, and really, like, there is a sweet spot in terms of how long the projects can be milking their users for until it becomes unsustainable, or until the community becomes very upset. And it's usually between 3 to 6 months. If there are projects that are like doing campaigns longer than a year or even 2 years, likely it's gonna be shit airdrop. So
no, we've got time for 2 year airdrops. I mean, linear as well. They were high on your list, and that was a farm. Like I remember, that was a farm that came out around the time of ZK Sync and Stockware. They've already had tokens up in the air for like half a year, even more by now. And Linier's still sitting on his ass waiting to drop tokens. So, I mean, it's 2 years. Ain't nobody got time for that. Like, no one's gonna. If you want people to consistently farm your token, then it needs to be quick. Or like you can do what Hyperliquid did, and actually, or Yap or Kaito, and actually, like, people need to be intrinsically motivated to use your product. Like with farming, it's an extrinsic motivation. Like no one wants the 4% deal that you can get from restaking. It's not interesting. It's all about the farming. So when the farming is the only, it might be able to be the main thing, but it was like the only thing people come from. It's not really as sustainable, and then you got to come out quickly with the product. Alex, I want to get you in here and talk about the sort of because a lot of times farmers, like people can do farming campaign airdrop. They want to do it as kind of a big noise, make a lot of noise on the timeline. You've seen, probably 10,000 hours you've spent looking at PR briefs. Does airdrop farming, like, first of all, introduce yourself a little bit, like, so people know why I'm asking you this question, and then, like, like answer me whether airdrop farming, airdrops, like, is that like newsworthy? How do airdrops look from a PR side of the story?
Yeah, sure. So my background is in journalism. I've spent almost 10 years in working for various media, and eventually ended up in crypto almost 10 years ago at this point. I joined Cointelegraph about 6 years ago, worked my way up from just an editor to being a managing editor, then editor-in-chief, and ultimately decided to switch into marketing. And now, about 6 months ago, I left Cointelegraph, and now I'm with Exponential Science, which is a NGO, nonprofit, centered around deep tech research and scientific research around, deep tech components, which blockchain and DLT is obviously a big part of, but honestly, other aspects are, cryptography, AI, data sciences of various sorts, machine learning, so on and so forth. So the team back in the office is kind of researching all these topics, and we're trying to find an application for that research in real life and generate more cash to continue doing more research. So from my point of view, it's a noble cause that leads to more adoption and more awareness. But yes, as you rightly pointed out, my background is in media and doing some PR and working with a lot of PR. And while at Cointelegraph, looking at their drops, I was quite skeptical because it's kind of a promise that you need to deliver on. And, we only really covered back, back when I was there, their drops that already happened or were in the process of launching. And there were kind of really big ones that the whole community was talking about. Didn't really cover anything pre-launch because, the launch can always get delayed or it can always get botched or it can always go pear-shaped. But if you're building up to something exciting and then it doesn't, turn out to be that exciting, it's kind of on you as a journalist that you created all that hype, got people to invest the time, money, effort into, even reading about it, and then it turned out to be a nothing burger. So, just as with token listings and all other kind of half speculative events, the media kind of seen as really kind of cautious about when it's actually happening. I think in terms of listings, like the biggest listing I remember was when Coinbase listed Doge. I think that, at that point I was right. No, let's cover that listing. But, that's an exception. We don't cover listings. We've got so much good news around that, we can cover a really good listing 24 hours later to say, look at the numbers from that listing. And to me, that's a much better story. Same with airdrops, right? If something bad happens, you cover it after the fact while, all the facts, something happened. Or, if it was a really successful one, then you say, look at that, that's what happened exactly from hour 1 to 24 hours later, everything's fine. So more factual based rather than speculative based. And I think that's how you kind of turn down the degree of anxiety, I guess, in the market and just in the industry as well, because fueling all that hype and all that speculation does no one good.
I didn't realize you could turn down the anxiety. I thought it was just at a permanent high level.
Yeah, well,
so
you can go overboard.
you cover like you were looking at sort of everything that KOLs, the other side of KOL, because KOLs love listings. Like that's what people use these KOLs for. Like we listed here, we listed there, we got IDO here, sold out there. And you guys are saying, when Doge was listed, that's big news. But you're 99% of you guys aren't Doge, so listing isn't news for us. Like so. My next question is obviously the positive side of that. So what is news? And more importantly, like, I've worked at a bunch of companies over the years and I've always dealt with these PR agencies that, are responsible with placing stories in media. And it just seemed like you're paying out of your ass for access, for like a, as in, it's not like if the story's boring, the PR agency can get it in for you. It's not like they write the story for you. A lot of the times, like, I'm a content writer, I'm writing the story, I'm choosing the angle. Maybe they'll have a call with me and give me 1 or 2 ideas, but I'm, making sure that this document is ready A to Z. And then they might place it somewhere in a PR. So, like, back to my original question, how does a project that might not have a $7 million budget for PR agencies, but they're still building, they're still pushing releases, they're still making partnerships, how can they get noticed and recognized as well?
It's tough. I'm just going to say it straight away. It's tough because there is a lot of noise. And like the further along we get into the life cycle of, crypto and, other technologies coming into the mix, like you talked about it, like previously, there's a lot of AI coins and other initiatives right now. Like it's tough. The place is getting crowded. But the thing is, it's like, Crime Wolf. Like when you promise an announcement and then you promise another update to the announcement, the story just gets old. Like the less noise, like rubbish and noise you create around the project, the better. Because if you come to a journalist with an actual story, look, we're releasing this platform. We've got, beta, alpha, whatever, usage was great. great results. We've got people following us and engaging with us on Twitter, not just bots, but actual people. You know, we're doing these events. We're out there. The community is interested in us. The journalist is going to say, like, you know, how can I not cover it because people want to read about this? But if you're promising an announcement of an announcement that's going to come in 6 months' time, you know, forget about it. Honestly, like, someone may publish it and like take the bait, but it's all about, you know, bringing something that's actually going to do something cool or interesting or take the adoption further, or it's something that people are, you know, actively involved with, using, interested in, and want to discuss. And, you know, if you're a smallish project and you have a product, but you haven't built up a community, haven't built up a slight bit of interest in it, it's stuff, sorry. But, you know, the media, for the most part, is crypto, and it's not just really crypto media that covers crypto. It's, well, Web2 and traditional finance media covering it. They would only be interested in picking up a trend rather than creating a trend, right? And it's kind of a very important distinction. So there's small projects, you know, you can buy your way into media somehow, maybe, and then that project is going to get carried by the journalists. That's not how it's supposed to work originally.
You can pay money to put your project in front of journalists, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be excited to write about it.
Well, there were stories when, you know, entire publications were bought out by certain individuals and companies, and, you know, under the table, you know, they were giving money to journalists. That's not how it's supposed to work, but, you know.
Yeah, no, that's super illegal and against policy.
Exactly.
From self-respecting publications.
Exactly.
Most self-respecting publications, I should say. I really like this homepage on Exponential Science. I've been just playing around.
We'll get to Exponential Science in a bit. I just kind of, for me, PR is fascinating. And I did want to ask one follow-up question. More like a point that I made. And this is kind of what I tell a lot of founders. And this is, I think, where Mati shines as well. People want a lot of noise. People want Cointelegraph, you know, so they can put the logo on their website under the hero and say, as seen on Cointelegraph. And you know, what you're saying is, if you, pardon?
Never done that. Never.
You've never done that. That's
Bloomberg on my homepage before. Nah.
So that's what people want, and like, you know, you're telling them, like, if you want to get that, you know, have one newsworthy thing a year, like a big update, you know, that you launch together with, like, do it at like Token 2049. You drop a new update, it's big news, and then you can get the Cointelegraph. But I think for the day-to-day, people want to keep seeing themselves in the press, and the way to do that, I think it's in the, you know, opinions and getting yourself quoted in the papers and whatever, and adding more value to the conversation as opposed to just trying to show. And that holds for a lot of things in the space. You know, like on Twitter Spaces, people will gladly let you come on and share the stage and talk and offer your opinion and whatever. But like, if you want to show stuff, it will cost you a lot of money because people don't want to just be sold to. So I think if you're a founder or you're looking to use PR effectively, like, you know, gear up for those big announcements, make a big blitz out of them. And those big announcements should be, you know, partnerships. And partnership doesn't mean, you know, like a logo together, or I'm using Microsoft Azure, so I'm in a partnership with Microsoft. It means like something real, something deep that has also an implication on the tech. And, you know, get that out into the press. And the rest of the time, focus on getting your voice out there, contributing to the conversation around the sector, the niche that applies to your product. And then, you know, it's still very relevant. If a founder's getting op-ed featured on Cointelegraph or on Bloomberg or one of that, you can still post that to social. You know, I know the community eats that shit up. So when people see that the founder was featured, you know, quite weekly, then it harps them up for a full day. So I think that's kind of what I wanted to add on the PR front. But from the past, let's go to the future and talk about Exponential Science. Mati, you want to pulled up the website over there. Let's see what's up there. Mati and Alex, take us through.
So I have to show you this. This is so cool. I've been playing with this for the last 10 minutes. Look at that.
And if you go on one of the landing pages, there's like the cipher that turns into text. So yeah. It kind of shows.
Okay, so this is my question, really. Like, okay, what do we do? Intercepting the emerging technology convergence. We walk humanity toward a world where emerging digital technologies enhance trust, transparency, improve decision-making and automation, and create immersive experiences, ensuring that information and value are accessible and verifiable by all. Where open collaboration between academics, government, and startups breeds innovation, and the value created flows more horizontally across participants. And I'm sorry, what do you do? I do
In a
not.
nutshell.
I read this entire page. I do not understand. What do you do?
In a nutshell, it's scientific research that gets adopted either as policy or as part of some, technological change. Because what we kind of are focusing on is a lot of emerging technologies, exponential technologies that are converging. So we're not just talking about, crypto doing its thing, DLT doing its thing, blockchain doing its thing. Right now, what we're seeing is a trend of combining those technologies together to create something new. And in order to get it adopted, you really need to bring in the governments and the businesses together to the table. So we're using our background, scientific academic background. We're using our connections with the, central banks, heads of governments, to really bring those people together around one table, like during small niche events, and really discuss how, for example, a certain government can adopt, a piece of technology designed by Hedera or Ripple, right, to, fix a certain thing. Another aspect is education. As I mentioned before, a lot of what Exponential Science is comes from academia, and we're looking to expand on that. So we're partnered up with a community of universities. It's UK Centre for Blockchain Technologies, which is combining universities to university schools, really, that study blockchain in UK. So like UCL, Oxford, University of Birmingham are part of that. And that community is generating more interest in education around crypto, for example. So another initiative we're supporting is the MICA Crypto Alliance. Well, MICA has been in the news for a few months right now. We all heard of USDT being delisted from several exchanges.
For half a year already,
So we're heavily involved in regulation as well on that side. And, there's so much uncertainty around MICA. And, we're supporting the initiative where companies can become part of that alliance, let's say, and make sure that they're compliant with the regulation and they can stay in business. And then all the ESG data sheets and stuff. Yeah.
I mean,
sorry.
So your answer was pretty good. Research, because I understand research. We do a lot of research in quantum economics as well. But regarding MICA, I mean, like I thought it was pretty clear. Like they've put out the rules of the road, the guardrails and whatnot, and say, okay, well, if you're a money coin, well, then you're going to have to, adhere to the same standards as a money issuer in regular life. Utility tokens, I think for now are pretty lightly regulated. I would say you just have to put out a white paper and that make sure that the white paper reflects the technology that you're building. But yeah, that even speaking with the people who wrote MICA, like they're gearing up for MICA too. So that's one thing that bureaucrats are really good at is job security. So they want to make sure that can't answer all the questions in one go. We have to have a Basel II and a Basel III, and if we don't do that, then okay, so that's Europe and European regulation, which is literally the meme of the year as far as like you see the three dragon heads, like ChatGPT and Grok from the United States, and then China comes out with DeepSeek, and then like Europe has got the
bottle cap. Bottle cap. But I think it's crazy. Tether doesn't care. They don't care about MICA at all. They haven't shown any any inkling to care about MICA, and it's just ridiculous. MICA requires, I don't know a lot about it. I'm not a lawyer, and it doesn't impact my daily life. So there's 0% chance I'm going to read these legal briefs because I'm not in the EU right now. But the one thing I do know is that MICA requires stablecoin issuers to keep their reserve in European banks, which is like requiring stablecoin issuers to keep their reserve on the Titanic, right? Because eventually, think about like a Greek bank in 2013, like when they had to take massive haircuts over there in Greece and Cyprus. Like that's a European bank. So according to MICA, I can keep my reserves there as a stablecoin issuer instead of holding them in treasuries or holding it in gold or in Bitcoin. I can keep it in some third tier bank in Greece, and that's considered MICA compliant. But holding treasuries is not. It's just I don't make sense of it. But I'm more curious about. I'm more curious about the deep tech side of what you guys do. Like, maybe if you share some like cool research experiments you guys are doing. Are you looking into quantum? Are you looking into string theory? Are you looking into like what kind of? I'm an amateur science geek, like hobbyist. I love obviously keeping abreast with what's happening at the vanguard of science, especially quantum theory. I think, as a believing religious person, like I think quantum theory really turned the world on its head because, people for generations, we've had like a deterministic worldview. If I know where the particle is and I know how far it's traveling, I can predict with certainty where it's going. And that led to a lot of, deterministic thinking in terms of age of the universe question with dinosaurs and, all these things. It's like science is fixed on A, B, and C. But now we see that it's not so clear cut, that there's a wave of probabilities that determine the outcome, and only observation of a particle can actually fix it in its place. So the link between cause and effect, as I read yesterday, has been broken because it's not as clear cut and deterministic anymore. So like that's for me super fascinating, and like I'm interested to see what you guys are building in that. We also want to know if it's a real dog on your bed, Mr. Stabano, or do you have
yeah, she is real. Yeah. That's my Dogecoin investment. That's it in its entirety.
I love that the PTFE pillow. I need to get one of those.
Yeah. I mean, we don't quite go into like quantum theory and stuff like our research is mainly around finance and sort of technologies that can combine to benefit kind of policy and financial policy. So there's some quantum computing stuff going on because that's intertwined. Mostly it's AI related, DLT related, data related, right? Because that's digital identities. That's another thing that kind of combines a few elements here and there. So like there's quite a lot of research going on at one given point of time. Most of it is being published on the website, and permission versus permissionless networks, stuff like that, ZKs. That's those are quite big on our agenda. And Exponential Science is a reasonably new organization. It has been spun off from a few various initiatives late last year. So we are only now starting to release the research with updated vision, and starting doing events, around that updated vision. So it's not, previously it was mostly blockchain related. Now it's, a much wider net we're casting. And that's why I kind of hopped on the.
So I get it now. I think research is maybe I think the word think tank comes to mind. Like if you think about
in a way
policy think tanks on you have them for security and water strategy and all different types of lobbying. Anyone with an interest, you set up a think tank. You get a whole bunch of retired generals and military officials and people who have like fancy degrees, and you put them together and they write kind of policy proposals and try and work with the relevant elected officials to pass those as laws or to get that implemented.
Yeah, and also think about it, like quite a few platforms have been put together by scientists, mathematicians, right? We all know Starkware, for example, that's a perfect example, but then Avalanche and a few others. Like a lot of innovation in in the emerging tech space comes from scientists. Not a surprise. But then connecting that research that maybe some have missed out on or overlooked, and adding it into the mix, we're hoping that it's going to be propelling the adoption of all those technologies in further. And once again, like, we're here to generate interest in that research. We're a nonprofit, we're looking for donors, obviously, but that's literally to put money back into research and help researchers do their thing. So, for us, that's the goal, right? We want raised awareness, and we want generally more interest and awareness of that research that is being done around at universities, or by our research team, or by literally anyone else, because we do a lot of collaborations on events and on research papers. So, yeah.
Are you guys mainly in the EU area?
All over the world, really. So, yeah, quite a decentralized platform at this point. So, yeah, really decentralized in terms of locations and, countries of origin. So, embracing the future, so to speak.
Epic. So, as I mentioned to Alex before you guys got on, Mati, like I told him, we're big fans of exponential science and the golden era. As we always say in the show, like, we have to sometimes tune out and zoom out from the gambling instinct and addiction that Max spoke to, and look at the bigger picture. And that we're accelerating to a singularity, as you mentioned. All the technologies are converging to a place where human abundance and freedom and creativity and flourishing can thrive on multiple planets. So that's kind of my closing thoughts for today. Any kind of closing thought? What things to look out for, things to check out, and what things you're excited about before we sign off.
Alex, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the work that we're doing with quantum economics. What you're doing there at Exponential Science actually seems fascinating, and I'd love to understand how we can support it. We've got more than 100 members from around the globe who are all very high value people. Some of the most prolific writers and researchers in the space, CEOs and board members, founders, builders, investors, content creators. So let me know, like, how can we support what you guys are doing at Exponential Science? I'd be happy to take that conversation forward. And of course, let all the good people know where they can find you on social media as well.
Sure. I mean, just Google Exponential Science. You can visit our website. All the social networks are linked there, or you can just find us mainly on LinkedIn and X by typing in Exponential Science and follow the updates. We regularly attend events, show off our research and all the collaborations that we're doing with Hedera, Ripple, and other sort of partners and members. So yeah, good things to come in 2025, and yeah, it would be amazing to find new friends and partners. Mati, obviously quantum economics would be an amazing way to start off that.
Awesome. So let's have that conversation. Cool. About it from me. I think we're headed into an awesome period of time. Yesterday's or the weekend panic, a bit of fun. Get your heart rate pumping, but not more than that. We'll keep an eye on it. Obviously, I mean, markets are volatile. It is a feature, not a bug. So lean into it. Buy the dip, as your pillow says over there. I think your dog's got the right attitude. Nap it out. Cool. Thanks a lot. It's great to meet you guys, and thanks for hosting, Dudu.
Thank you, Alex, Max, Mati. We'll keep you guys updated on the next show. We have an incredible lineup coming for the next couple of weeks. We've got about 4 shows left until I go on a little paternity leave to be a baby daddy. And then when we come back, hopefully Bitcoin's at 200K. Thank you. When we come back, hopefully Bitcoin's at 200K and we can restart the next season with Michael
I hope
Saylor.
you're not planning on staying out that long.
Nah, it's high super cycle, man. Everything's accelerated. Bitcoin can pull a couple 10K candles, while I'm breastfeeding. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Amazing, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe out there. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. So I'm not the organizer of this. It still says that I'm live here. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do.